I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, all through the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about parenting in the modern world. Is it easier or harder to parent nowadays? What do you think? It probably depends what aspect of parenting you're actually looking at. I've heard mixed reviews, and sometimes it depends on which generation person is talking to me. In this video today, we're going to be talking about some of the challenges facing parents in the modern world, but also some of the skills and principles that previous generations might not have known that could make things easier for us today. Modern parenting is like a triathlon, you know? You do that swim and then you think, okay, finally we got them through the toddler years. And then boom, here comes the bike. Oh, now it's a whole new thing. I've got to use different muscles. We're going on different terrain. Now we get them through basics of childhood, and then comes the run. The run, oh, that's when it really pushes us to the limit. We've done the swim, we've done the bike, now here comes the run, and that is adolescence, when they're going through puberty and changing and learn to launch. And don't even get me started on what happens once they leave the nest. That's a whole different type of parenting interactions that we're going to be having, and we have to adjust yet again. So if there's one thing about parenting, it's that you're going to adjust no matter what, because a person is learning and growing all the time, and they are adjusting. So that happens no matter what is going on in the world, but what you have to adjust to can change based on current trends or things that are targeted at our children. So what types of things are targeted at our children in these modern days that maybe weren't targeted at our children in the past? Well, for sure, we're still part of this big experiment called the modern technological age, okay? Putting cell phones in everybody's pockets, learning school on tablets and iPads and Chromebooks and all the different things that are used now for learning, where these things are exciting. They're expanding some of our opportunities. They're also shackling us. We are getting trapped by these things. They're taking over our lives. They're damaging relationships. They're ruining connection between parent and child. They're leading to increased entitlement. They're ruining friendships, playtimes, activity levels, the basics of health, nutrition, and proper social engagement. The studies keep pouring out. Social scientists, psychologists, they are all doing studies and research on what is happening in this technological age. Another thing that is impacting our children and the parenting is actually that as parents, because of the technological age, we actually have this tendency to feel like everything should get better faster, right? If we have a problem, we buy a pill for it. We tell someone about it and it goes away. So we want our children to be that quick and easy too. We want something from the store. We don't have to go to the store. We go online and we order it. So why can't we go online, talk bad about our children, and then feel like everything is okay? Because they're people. It's not a formula when you're working with a person like that. And it's not a quick fix. There's development that happen with children, and so we have to factor in development. Part of development includes patience. We have to wait and watch for learning to occur. We have to catch cues and then give the next piece of information that they need. They need training, emotional training, physical training, habit training, social training, academic training. They need training in all of the areas of their lives. And this takes constant work. And in a fast-paced, instant gratification society, a lot of parents are not up to the challenge. They just want it to get easier. Now, good thing for you, I do have some things that are going to make it easier for you, but they're principled, which means that they do take a little bit of work and they will take transformation on your part. In order to have a true lasting change happen in the heart and behavior of your child and your family, you have to live according to truth, according to principle, and I'm going to be sharing some of those things with you today. Another problem that we have in our modern culture is this outsourcing mentality. This isn't directly related to our technological environment, but can be. So we think in terms of outsourcing everything. Oh, our child needs to learn something, we'll send them to school. Our child needs to work on this craft or this particular hobby that they're wanting to develop, we'll send them to a class or to an expert. We're always looking for the expert. Isn't that why we come to YouTube lots of the time too? To look for the expert to help us know what to do. Either this means A, we haven't been trained, or B, we haven't been paying attention, or C, we have inflated the value of the expert to the point that we actually devalue our ability to problem solve. But then I guess that brings us to another option. Have we just not learned very well how to problem solve because there is always an expert to send our problem to? That could be the case too. So, because we're always looking for an expert, we have a tendency to disengage and look for some other thing or person to outsource to in order to solve our child's problem, to entertain our child, to read our child a bedtime story. We call those movies or videos now. We don't even read to the children or sing to the children. We don't tell them as many of our own stories from our own lives isn't much anymore because there's so much noise and stories and songs around us that we just push a button instead. Outsourcing is another thing we deal with. We have to decide as parents to disengage from the outsourcing mentality and to insert ourselves into the lives and development of our children in a very deliberate way. And this takes a bit of bravery, some self-sacrifice. We have to decide not to be selfish ourselves. We've got to want the work and put it in. And speaking of work, that's another thing. In our day and age, things are so convenient. They're so easy. So we don't have to work that much. You just pull up to a place, pay at the pump, run the car, you hardly have to do anything. There's so many machines around us that can run our lives for us. A wise parent recognizes that their children need to have a touch with the earth. They need to have a touch with the world around them, and one of the best ways to have that touch is work. So I want to share with you a story about my son, Porter. He's my youngest one of 4, and he actually right now is living away from home. He's an adult. All of my children have reached adult age now, and my foster children. So I am now an empty nester, which is kind of weird, to be honest with you, just to get a little personal. But he is serving a mission for our church, and he's working with inner city children in an inner city capacity, and he is serving a lot of people. He's doing tons of manual labor. He's doing yard work in the blazing southern humid heat of the United States. He is doing gross jobs that people don't want to do as service to help people in any way he can. He's a community organizer. He's gathering together people for community functions. He's running a youth center for inner city kids that need support in their environment. He is working his guts out. And on his day off, because he gets one day off a week, you know what he does? More work. He shops and cleans and he exercises for his fun time, even though he's playing sports and games and exercising with his children in this inner city program all the time. Every day he works hard. He's already been offered by people that know him jobs for when he gets back from doing his missionary service. They're like, we'll hire him in a heartbeat. The people who work for us in framing, they don't know what they're doing, but he can work. We want him. He has something. He has a character that's been developed because he knows how to work. He worked alone as a child. He worked with the family all the time as a child. He got the opportunity to earn extra chores and to accept those for his own character development, his own self-government learning. So let's talk about self-government. How can self-government and the things that I teach help you to create children that can turn out to be happy, hardworking, good character, attached to family, caring about the important things, loving their friends, knowing how to talk to people instead of just being isolated? How can we do that in our society? We've had enough of anxiety, depression, suicide, detachment, failed bonding. We've had enough, haven't we? That's what our society is breeding right now. We need to do something, and we can. And self-government is the key. So I teach self-government. This is a type of parenting where everyone has a change of heart, where they learn and understand how they work, they honor and understand the people around them, and they choose to govern themselves. There are 4 skills of self-government that I teach for children. Now they learn all the parent skills too. There's 5 separate skills for parents. All of this can be taught on my website, teachingselfgovernment.com. In fact, there's tons of helps there. There's free Calm Parenting Toolkit that's there. There's other courses and trainings that you can be part of to help your children. But let's just talk about these 4 basic skills first. The 4 basic skills of self-government actually take care of 99% of a child's behavioral problems. And I know this because I brought the most troubled youth into my home doing level 3 therapeutic treatment care for troubled teens for a number of years. What did I teach them? The 4 basic skills, as well as I taught them the 5 teaching styles that I was going to use with them. They learned it all. They left my home knowing how to be a good parent. In fact, now that my children are becoming parents, I'm seeing them use the skills and principles of self-government in their parenting, which is very powerful. The 4 basic skills are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. So let's just talk about one of these skills. Accepting no answers. Accepting no answers has 4 steps to it. A person, if they accept no answers, looks at the person or the situation, keeps a calm face, voice, and body, says, okay, or asks to disagree appropriately, and then drops the subject. A self-governed person gives themselves no answers. Your children are going to have to give themselves no answers. They're going to have to see circumstances like devices staring them in the face and say, no. I'm giving myself a no answer, and then say, okay, self, I'm not. And then dropping the subject, walking away, talking to a person. That brings us to following instructions. Following instructions has 5 steps. A self-governed person gives themselves instructions and follows through. So that means your child might have to give themselves instructions to go and do something outside, to go do some work that they maybe normally wouldn't want to do, to talk to the parents and have a good open conversation. Speaking of that open conversation, what about that skill disagreeing appropriately? When a person is self-governed, they can civilly discuss things with no emotional baggage so that they can solve their problems. What would that do for a parent-child relationship? Well, it changes everything. And speaking of the parent-child relationship, parents have to teach their children cause and effect for the children to learn self-government. That means that the children need to get the opportunity to accept consequences. So all of these principles that I'm bringing up have skill sets attached to them, just like that accepting no answers skill has. These skills are vital. If your child learns to accept consequences, then they will learn self-government. They will take responsibility for themselves. But here's the thing. You have to have your skills too as a parent. It's vital. Skill number 1, are you calm? Do you know how to be calm? Do you know how to get yourself calm if you're not feeling calm? That's an important skill to have. I'm going to give you something at the end of this video that will help you develop more calmness. Do you know how to correct a problem in a calm and effective way? What if a person's going completely out of control, like ballistic, chaos? Do you know how to calmly handle it? How to help them get back to a place of calm? How do you prepare the child not to have these problems in the first place? Do you know a skill for that? How do you help the child learn cause and effect, give them proper positive feedback and negative feedback when they need it? How do you open conversations with them when there's something delicate or sensitive that needs discussing? There's a skill for that. There's a skill for all of these things. And when you plan for those skills, and you use them, then your children end up developing more of that self-government. After this video, the best video for you to watch is probably going to be the full-length class called The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success. It will give you a lot more information about the skills and principles of self-government, and you'll be able to see if the TSG parenting course and resources are right for you. So those resources can be found at teachingselfgovernment.com. But that video is found here. So click on The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success now. I'll see you there.